Charlotte, North Carolina, a new South City that's become a center of power in the banking and financial field. But today, instead of the dollar, franc, and lira, of course, that's the recipe for a great race. Let's hear more about the front runners in today's event. Our pit reporters are Steve Evans and Martin Haven. An exciting field of cars set to go here in the Grand Prix of Charlotte at Lowe's Motor Speedway for the American Le Mans Series. Top qualifier is that Porsche 911 with Germans Lucas Luhr and Dirk Muller. They start 11th overall. As we look at the rest of the starting lineup for today's race, other notables, the Alex Job Racing Porsche of Randy Pobst and Bruno Lambert starting 12th, the BMW M3 2001 model, German veteran Hans Stuck, Boris Said, and Johannes van Overbeek starting in 17th overall. 23 cars in today's field, not as many as we normally see in a race of this type, Bill.
It's true, but we do have an incredibly good field with quality. All of the proper cars have come. Here's an idea. Look at just how tight that chicane is. You're on board Alex Job Racing Porsche right there. Now back to Dick Barber. That's the number 5 car, which is the pole sitter for GT. And here we go. We do have green. Watch this going into turn 1, a really tight section of track. Look at Scattarella. There's contact. Scattarella, the Audi came together, BMW. Lato cannot possibly risk it. Now also a lap or two later, Hans Stuck gets a tap in the back. He gets spun around by one of the Porsches. Gets a 360 view of the track. Watch his hands on the wheel. Look at this. As soon as he gets hit, he reacts. Just tremendous reactions on Hans Stuck. A great, great driver.
Look at the safety worker upper right of the screen signaling him that it's okay to rejoin traffic.
Yeah, indeed.
Fallen back to 7th position, and in fact he has been overtaken by the race leader and put one lap down. Here's Hans Stuck. This is the new 2001 BMW M3 racer that is not faring as well today as they would have hoped.
No, I mean, it's almost typical of a new car that you have to go through a teething, a development process. And talking earlier with Tom Miller, the head man of PDG, he said that yes, they're happy with the development, but they're impatient. They can see the future and the possibilities as one of the LMP cars just blows by. Well, it has a pretty graphic description or show of the speed differentials here. Amazing. And Hans and all of the GT drivers constantly have to look in the mirror.
Whoa,
look at the battle here. Oh, man, that was Randy Pobst really getting his GT car loose, watching the Dick Barber car immediately behind him. So they are getting a great battle right there.
And this is the race for the lead in the GT class. Pobst leading, Lucas Luhr in the Dick Barber number 5 Porsche running right behind him in second. They started side by side in the grid in 11th and 12th positions. They have been running this way basically nose to tail the entire distance so far.
Yeah, similar cars. Now here we're inside. We're riding with Randy. Watch how hard he works. Look at him just sawing away at the steering wheel. Grabs the next gear up on the banking, bangs the car a little bit. Now let's just watch his helmet, see if he takes a quick peek at the mirror. Yeah, he looks down the side. You can see he did that. And again, even this car pulling a 1.5 Gs down the banking. He's going to set this car up ahead for a braking maneuver. No, he's not.
You're not going to have enough time before he gets to the chicane there.
That might be Hans Stuck immediately ahead. So watch the speed differential. Now we're inside this Porsche. That's the 6-cylinder BMW up ahead.
And look at how busy he is, reaching for the gear shift, having a whole lot of that steering wheel hard in the banking to keep the car turning left. These cars aren't set up like a stock car where they're supposed to turn left in the banking because they have to make the right turns in the infield part of the course. Man, you really have to fight hard to keep the car on the banking and hold that wheel to the left.
And not only fight hard with his own car, but right there on the outside of him, the BMW just blew past him.
Tires have been a big topic of discussion among a lot of the teams leading up to this race. Steve Evans has more on that topic for us. Steve?
Well, guys, as you know, at a traditional road course, most of these cars, if not all of them, can double stent on a set of tires, saving very valuable time, not having to put on fresh rubber. But here with the banking, it's so hard on the right side tires that virtually every team will probably take on 4 tires. In fact, Michelin, who is mounted on all the prototype cars, was demanding that this morning. But they've changed their position a little bit with the Panos cars because they get such good tire wear. They're saying maybe Panos will only have to change the right side on the first stint. Should be interesting to watch because, as you know, with the Le Mans style pit stops, it can be really time consuming.
Wow.
Boy, that is going to be a pretty brave gamble, too.
Wow.
This is just incredible.
Oh, he missed it. He blew the chicane.
Right straight through. Just carried. Well, he got the fastest speed through the chicane, but unfortunately, it is not going to count.
That would be Jean-Marc Gagnon in the 43 BMW car, running in 4th overall. It'll be interesting to see if there's a penalty there for that by not making the chicane where you're supposed to. Let's take another look at it.
I think he will be okay. Now, just watch the replay. He gets in far too deep. Now, let's watch the back of the car and see if it squats or loses rear braking. No, just simply carrying way too much speed. But he made a very wise decision, and I don't think he will get a penalty because he didn't really advance his position anything. They may get a warning in the pit saying, don't let it happen again.
Close call there. Let's go to pit road. Martin Haven.
The cars have come under problems. Driver-induced problems. We saw Alex Job's car, it smacked the rear chicane. This car, not far from where the Audi went off, lost it going into the corner. You can see he tags the guardrail, and it looked relatively light, except look at the trail of steam off the front. Here's on board, watch this. Just ever so slow, he gets off the line, and then bam, right there. Doesn't seem like a serious accident, but the radiators in the front of the car are very vulnerable at that point, and it took a long pit stop to replace all of the necessary pieces to get the car back running. So they're well out of it. They don't stand a chance of winning.
So Lucas Luhr, who was driving at that point, has given way to Dirk Muller, who's now gotten into that car. But again, they're running back in 23rd position. Bad news there for the Dick Barber team. On the other side of the coin, the good news is the team machine with Bob Wallach and Sasha Maassen has been leading the GT class once this car and the Alex Job car of Randy Pobst both had their problems.
Right.
We'll see how that plays out here.
He will have lost a tremendous amount of this downforce. The car will be extremely challenging right now.
There's the leader in the GT class, and this is an extreme surprise. This is the BMW M3 of Peter and Brian Cunningham. Peter aboard now. This is the older model BMW M3 that was not expected to keep up with or outrun either the newer model Beamer or the Porsches. But there they find themselves in the lead.
Just when you're told a car can't possibly win, there it is.
Now, part of that has been problems on a couple of the Porsches. We saw the Randy Pobst car from Alex Job Racing hit the tire barriers that make up the chicane earlier in the event while he was leading GT. Then we saw Lucas Luhr in one of the Dick Barber Porsches crash in the infield for the problem. For the Don McGill Racing Porsche, Sam Shalala and Bertrand Godin.
Choose above David Brabham because he is just such a good racer. He really gets the bit between his teeth and goes for it.
This is the third place car in GT you're looking at. The German veteran Hans Stuck behind the wheel of the 2001 model BMW M3. Had their problems here in the race, got bumped by another car earlier in the event, spun around, but has managed to come back quite respectably, thank you. They are, again, third in the GT class. They are 1 lap behind the second place car, 2 laps behind their team machine that is the leader in the GT division.
Talented driver and a lot of fun. The ultimate practical jokester, Hans Stuck. I had the pleasure of co-driving with him for 4 or 5 years. And I have stories I can't tell you.
And he has a tradition that is different than most in terms of victory lane celebrations in that he yodels. And quite nicely, thank you. It is unique. You know it's Hans holding the winner's trophy when you hear that.
The importance of having the very best products, and that is just remarkable.
So the Michelin brand behind him, Oberlin in the white BMW. Here is one of the GT front runners, Hans Stuck, is on pit road in the BMW M3. Late fuel stop here, late tire stop before the restart.
I'm quite surprised at that too, with such a short time left. I'm really amazed that they decided to change tires on this.
Stuck running in the 13th position overall as the field continues to circle. There you see 4th in the GT class, and he is going to have to hustle off the pit lane or they're going to lose another lap because the field's coming off the Speedway turn 4 behind the pace car.
You know, something that might have happened here as we watch Hans sitting in the BMW is maybe he picked up some rubber on his tires, some of what we call just in the gray areas of the track. We saw earlier when the Scatterella car came in and made a pit stop, the tires they took off the car were just coated. I mean, terrible. The vibration had to be huge, and sometimes that happens under slow laps. Your hot tires just pick up all of these little bits of rubber on the track. If that had happened to Hans, he's probably doing the wise thing by getting rid of it, getting fresh tires on.
Today's American Le Mans Series Grand Prix of Charlotte is the first sports car race here at this facility since 1986. Jon Magnussen actually 26 years old. Let's go back racing. Green flag is in the air. The race for 3rd and 4th.
Well,
plus the race for 1st and 2nd, all separated with lap cars.
Brabham disposed of a whole bunch of cars in a heartbeat. He is suddenly the 4th car.
Looking back now on the GT race for the lead, the surprising BMW, the older model BMW M3 with Peter Cunningham aboard, continues to lead the GT class by 6.7 seconds over one of the Dick Barber Porsches, Sasha Maassen. And Bob Wallach teaming in that car. Maassen now aboard the machine, and he's got not a lot of time left to make up 6 seconds, and keep BMW from stealing the win from the heavily favored Porsches.
Here we are right now. We're in Dick Barber's car. Now that looks like the BMW right ahead.
Yeah, this is the other car. This
That's
is
the 5 car, yes.
This is the Dirk Muller Lucas Luhr car that was leading GT earlier and was involved in the crash and spent time on the pit lane replacing the radiator and so on. So they're a number of laps down. In fact, they're back in 21st position.
I was wondering if maybe there's some of that, quote, teamwork involved there too, saying if you can slow him down just a little bit to help. But
well, if he can get in front of him, you never know. He's got to get by him first, though.
Well, this might be payback for Sears Point last year. You remember that Porsche had the lead with 1 lap to go, and Hans Stuck in one of those M3s stole it. So let's see now.
This was a lap ago at the chicane.
Now there is the team car, number 5 on the inside, and once again, can the BMW turn in? No. So twice in a row now. Fine. Now look at the time he gains.
Fine. Want to make things difficult for me? Trying to help your teammate? I'll show you.
See that? That's a tremendous gain right there.
Well, it hasn't helped him much because here comes the Porsche.
Now, do you think he's going to be brave enough to do 3 in a row?
Not unless there's some traffic around him, I wouldn't think. This is the race for the GT class lead. This is also the race for the 9th and 10th spots overall in the race. Chicane.
He did it.
Went through it this time.
Well, and the Porsche is closing very quickly on him. Apparently, the Porsche not only has a horsepower advantage, but it is seriously quicker on the top end. It's a very clean aerodynamic car. Look at the speed.
See if he tries it on the inside. Under braking this time.
I don't think he will. I think he can afford to bide his time and wait for another lap or two until he gets just the right spot that he wants, because it clearly is a quicker car.
While we're watching this, the overall race lead between Jörg Muller and David Brabham is at about 10 seconds into the final lap. So right now, Brabham not able to make up enough ground to challenge for the race lead. But this is the race for the GT class top spot. And we're inside of 5 minutes left in the event.
Now he's driving very calmly right now. I'm really quite impressed by the Dick Barber car. There is no rush. I think it's almost like sitting with the big gun loaded. You know you can fire anytime you want, so just pick the right place.
Let's see if he tries him under braking at the chicane this time. That's where he's made up a lot of ground the last couple of laps. So
yeah, look at this. Here he goes.
Inside, outside, Cunningham moves slow to block. This looks like a stock car race. Trading paint down the backstretch at Charlotte.
I don't think so. He went in deep.
He was going to stick the bumper to him, I thought.
Well, I think if that happens on the last lap, you might see some bumper tag.
Cost him some ground there trying to late brake for that chicane.
It did.
Cost him a little bit of ground. Wow.
Cunningham is doing a really good job trying to fend him off. You're allowed to do a little bit of moving. You can maybe choose your own position on the track, but if it really becomes blatant, the officials will flag him. So he's got to be very careful at this point.
And you're speaking in terms of driver etiquette here and what you can get away with and what's expected in road racing.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot blatantly go from side to side using the full width of the track down the back straight just for the express purpose of blocking. You cannot do that.
Looking ahead from the team Dick Barber car, the Dirk Muller machine that was damaged in an earlier crash at this race for the GT lead. Spray a little dirt in your face, clip the infield.
I think he'll try it right here again, same as last time, and try and get a real good run. Don't get too close before you pull out of that draft.
Out of the infield, up on the super speedway, turn 1. Dropping to the bottom of the banking is Wisconsin driver Peter Cunningham trying to put the block on Sasha Mawson. He'll try the outside this time, up the back straightaway. Does he have enough to make it work?
I think so.
He's got it.
Oh, cleanly.
Sasha Mawson with a pass for the lead in the GT class with 3 minutes to go in this race.
Now let's see, can Cunningham just get some reserves here and fight back? Maybe the horsepower is just way too much.
It's going to be hard for him. He held him off that long. I think that now probably the Porsche will show its
strength. And look at the team car.
He's going to make sure that he doesn't muster up anything.
Oh, they hit. They just touched right there.
Wow. Some fun racing for the production-based machines here in the final laps of the Grand Prix of Charlotte.
I guarantee you, if that team car is able to go by the BMW, he will suddenly, mysteriously become 2 seconds a lap slower. And I'll bet you Cunningham knows that too.
So Dick Barber Racing and the Porsche of Bob Wallach and Sasha Mawson driving away now from Team BMW in the GT class. And that pass for the lead in that division as well as 9th place overall in the event. Here we get the victory lane celebration. How about that? There's Jörg Muller unbuckling from the car.
Yes, the dance. Go for it, Jörg.
Jörg Mueller.
He's going to dance with the Michelin Man.
Let's go to Steve Evans.
In case you didn't think a prototype sports car could do a burnout, you didn't see Jörg Mueller. Looked like John Force coming into the winner's circle. You know, he and JJ predicted yesterday that the challenge would not come from the BMWs, it would come from the Paynos cars. He's trying to get his helmet up, and we'll try to get up as quickly as we can. And just a flawless drive for this young man from Monaco. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks 1,000 times. Thanks to my team. I mean, it was just a brilliant strategy in the pits, and that's one of the reasons why we won this weekend.
Indeed, their pit work was spot on.
We'll wrap it up in a moment. The American Le Mans Series Grand Prix of Charlotte. First off to New York, and Hannah Storm at the Sun America Sports Desk right after these messages. The American Le Mans Series Grand Prix of Charlotte is over. You look at the winner's circle as they celebrate, and lets us take a look at the final rundown. BMW, Jörg Mueller and J.J. Lato scoring the victory.
And it was a hard-fought victory. David Brabham came on in the end, just couldn't quite do it. And, of course, a heartfelt favorite of the day.
The Olive Garden team, Doroticus and Scattarella, coming up with a third-place run in that new Lola. Looking at the GTS class winner, the Beretta Wendlinger car took the victory there. And you look at some of the rest of the rundown, including some of the Audis who had their problems early, in particular the 20th place finishing car. And that's the rest of the finish